Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. But we've been throwing around the term MGA, MGU, delegated underwriting. We've been throwing that around. For our listeners that really don't have a concept of really what that all means, can you explain what it is to be a delegated underwriting authority entity and kind of the value that brings to the industry?
Sure. Delegated Underwriting Authority Enterprises, or DUAEs, as we like to call them here at AM Best, is really an all-inclusive term, because a DUAE can be an MGA, managing general agent. It can be an MGU, managing general underwriter, but it also could be a program manager or a program administrator, a cover holder, or it just any appointed representative for a carrier. So it really is just like a blanket term for these various entities. From a definitional standpoint, AM Best defines delegated underwriting authority as a third-party entity that has contractual appointment by an insurer or a reinsurer. So they're going to perform various underwriting abilities, claims handling, or other administrative functions on behalf of their carrier partner. Now, you asked about the role they play in the greater, value chain, and that's very dynamic. So they play a significant role in bridging the gap between insurers and policyholders. So over the last decade, we've seen an evolution of insurance distribution, and we've witnessed this expansion of the traditional distribution channels where policyholders would either go directly to the insurer, or they're going to just use a broker or an agent to access that insurance or that particular insurer. That has developed into a multi-channel access. And even non-traditional channels of access, if you will, that incorporate technology and delegated authority to achieve that farther reach for both policyholders and insurers alike.
Got it. Makes a lot of sense. You were kind enough to send me a copy of an AM Best report regarding just the kind of this industry and the growth of DUAEs. And what I was struck by the incredible year over year growth that shows up in that report, particularly around these entities. What are some of the key factors that you see that are driving this growth? What are some of those and also too the implications for what that growth has in the market? What are your thoughts on that?
No, you're correct. For 2023, direct premiums written generated in the DUAE sector grew about 8.6% year over year to about $77 billion in premiums. And really, this follows double-digit growth over the last few years. Now, the growth, depending on who you talk to, is going to vary because, you have the statutory filings that look at the actual income statement from some carriers that use the UAEs, and that it varies because of late filings. It can vary because of the statutory limitation of 5%, where insurers don't have to report their MGA business if it's lower than 5% of their total surplus. So that's going to vary. But from our research, we've seen it grow about that 8% mark, leading to $77 billion. And again, like I said, this is following double-digit growth over the last several years. And this continued growth in direct premiums, which is written over the broader market, is really owed to new entrants in the market. And interestingly enough, the growth was achieved through the beginning of the year, even though there was some capacity issues and challenges in the market, especially with property and new programs. Yeah. And what we've seen was that fronting companies and the E&S companies really help to add momentum to that premium growth. So if you look at it, fronting companies account for about $15 billion in written premiums by MGAs. And that's just for 2023.
Right.
And they represent about 17% of MGA premiums supported just by the fronting market.
Right.
So another major factor of recent growth is the number of DUAEs that are collaborating with insurers to write specialty business.
Yeah.
This rise in the DUA collaborations is really driving the overall increase in US P&C premiums.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.